Hi, my name is Carson Craig, and for my photo essay, I researched the mistreatment of food production workers in today's society. By researching this topic, I learned that the National Labor Relations Act of 1935 did not provide rights for all workers. When defining what employees receive rights from this act, in Section 2, Part 3, it states that the term employee shall include any employee, but shall not include any individual employed as an agricultural laborer. This is a racist holdover policy which is in place because the white Republican policymakers of that time had it in their best interest to preserve the exploitation of farm workers. Plantation and slave owners wanted to continue to abuse workers to protect their profits. In order for all food production workers to receive fair treatment, this policy needs to be revised. Another sad truth I discovered while researching is that farm workers in the United States still earn extremely low wages, an average annual individual income of $12,500 to $14,999. According to Joseph Urbantrout in his article, Farm Workers Are Taking on Poor Pay and Conditions and Winning, most agricultural production workers face abysmal working and housing conditions, lack health insurance, and work more than 40 hours a week, of very physically intensive labor. Pair this with the fact that food production is the most dangerous private sector to work in, and it is evident that food production workers are deserving of much better pay, benefits, and treatment. I approached this topic by researching as much as I could, trying to learn as many facts as possible. I wanted to discover to what extent food production workers are being mistreated, and why, in order to advocate for them. Once I found some evidence about how badly food production workers are mistreated, I was able to piece the puzzle together and determine why this mistreatment started and why it is still present. Crop fields, such as the one you see here, require extensive physical labor to maintain. The one pictured is a good friend of mine's, and I've helped him out working on it before. It was definitely the hardest labor I've ever done. Pictured here is my friend's house, the 1802 Bowman House, which used to be a large plantation for enslaved people. Back in those days, slave owners exploited the free slave labour in order to obtain a major economic advantage. Although slavery was abolished in 1865, plantation owners clung to their unethical farming systems in an attempt to preserve their profits. The National Labor Relations Act of 1935 is a great example of this. White Republican politicians, representing the plantation owners, did not include agricultural laborers in this right-graining bill, allowing them to continue to grossly underpay their workers in order to make extra profits. Another great example of politicians creating loopholes to keep farm work exploitable is the 13th Amendment. Although it abolished slavery, it still allows slavery as punishment. In this picture, a correctional officer is forcing prisoners to harvest crops for large corporations. This is a practice that is still exploited today. Pictured here is a complex that was busted for abusing laborers. Evans Camp held homeless people against their will by use of violence and forced them to harvest his crops for illegally low wages. In Florida, where Miguel Flores and Sebastian Gomez had a workforce of over 400 men and women harvesting their citrus fruits. They were paid $20 a week for over 60 hours of work and assaulted if they tried to leave. Meat packaging workers are also food production workers who face mistreatment. Their average salary is a low $22,000 a year, despite the dangerous nature of their work. 36% of them are injured every year. Food production workers spend long hours producing products every day. This is unfair because farm workers in the United States still earn extremely low wages. an average annual individual income of $12,500 to $15,000. Local grocery stores could potentially contain unethically produced goods. Due to the secretive nature of the mistreatment, fruit that originates from abusive practices could be in any produce aisle, even the one you see here. This is very problematic as consumers buying produce will almost certainly purchase an item harvested by underpaid or unfairly treated workers throughout their life. Cliff Bars are a great example of an ethically sourced product. It is easily discoverable that the company supports fair treatment of food production workers. Conscious consumers should research the products they buy in order to make sure they are supporting ethical business practices. In conclusion, food production workers are still facing unfair treatment today. Terrible working conditions, lack of benefits, abuse, and less than appropriate paychecks are all reasons why food production workers need to be advocated for.